Well, have you got World Cup fever? Reece Topley's got World Cup fever. He is on the show, as is Bharat Sundaresan. Sam Perry, have you got World Cup fever?
I didn't think I would have a fever or an onset of a fever leading up to today, but I believe I do. I'm feverish. Just turning on the coverage of the qualifiers starting today. Most people in Australia will refer to that as twos. Second grade.
World Cup twos.
Yeah, World Cup twos. It's on today. And you know when a World Cup starts, he goes, or any kind of tournament that you're into, okay, so maybe it's a Euros, maybe it's a Goodwill Games. Whatever flicks your switch.
For me, the Pan Packs.
Yeah. Whatever flicks your switch vis-a-vis tournaments, you want to understand the coverage of the aesthetic. You want to get a feel of it. You want to understand what it is. And I do have some notes, having just had a look at the KO presentation, which is the world feed of the World Cup. It's a new aesthetic. World Cup colours, stadiums renamed, like unfamiliar, scary sponsors. There's a bookings.com. I don't fucking know. It's not an ad for them, clearly. Someone's watching. I sort of caught this out of the corner of my eye while making a barramundi salad. Someone's watching Joss Butler hit Pat Cummins for 6. And I think Pat Cummins is voicing the ad, which just didn't pass the alpha sniff test for me.
Jesus Christ.
How's Cummins agreeing to that? How's Cummins agreeing to that ahead of a World Cup?
Yeah.
Even if it's just an advertisement, I see that as a psychological edge.
Well, England keep talking about how Australia's the favourites, even though, they've just won the last 2 away series.
Yeah.
So, including us 2.9-0 fuck off.
And Cummins is meant to match up well to Butler. He sort of bowls in swing to him and cramps him up. So I just don't understand that ad. This is what I'm talking about.
Right.
There's unfamiliar voices commentating who seem to be very competent and very good.
Oh, okay.
And this first game, as we go to air, it appears as though Sri Lanka's about to get dusted by Namibia, and therefore possibly create a group of death. They were talking about Geelong. You know how you go like to different areas around the country for a World Cup, and you do a little bit of a flyby of what is this city all about or whatever.
A bit of drone footage stuff.
Yeah, drone footage stuff.
Drone gear.
Well, what do you think they did to sell Geelong? Footy.
Oh,
Just footy stuff.
Of course. For the Cricket World Cup.
So you got Harsha Bogle and Dirk Nannis, both friends of the show, one impending. Just talking for 3 minutes about footy, how you say it, who plays for Geelong, what playing footy does to the pitch, drop-ins, couch grass,
Okay.
So there's a couple of early observations. Joel Wilson's umpiring that match, so Joel Wilson's been let into the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Big news.
Okay.
So that
someone from Patreon, I forget who it was. I literally just read it. I'm sorry, but they said, "How did this happen?" And I presume his seeing eye dog is still stuck in quarantine, which might be insensitive. I'm not sure. Happy to run with the top of the head though. I did a little flyby.
I can't believe they're going to let dogs on the field.
Unbelievable that he's still got a gig.
I have a little bit of fever, and I didn't expect it.
A little scratchy throat.
And I guess it's because we're about to watch some white ball cricket, where I might feel an emotion.
What the fuck? What are you talking about, man?
I might remember it for at least 3 to 4 weeks.
Whoa, have you been drinking?
But you tell me, like, do you think we're recording this out of Australia, the host nation's Australia. Like,
yeah.
do you think the Australian society at large, like the polis, has fever too? We've got some new ads now. We've got Elise Perry doing 5K.
I think it was 6.
I was sorry.
I think it was 6. Yeah,
6K
wind assisted.
6K run up to bowl a ball. Sometimes cricket's on TV, but then you remember on the flip side, it has been trade week, and the Everest has been run and won.
Yeah. Well, we're sort of right in the heartland here, Pez. Where we can hear the siren from the Melbourne Cricket Ground, where just recently they played the AFL Grand Final. So
now I know what it is. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Do you have any fever?
Nah, I'm not sure if I'm gripped by it just yet. It's one of those ones where you wake up and your muscles are a bit sore, and it feels a bit like, I might have something here.
Yeah.
I mean, you say start your day, and you're like, no, I'm all good. It's just the morning's always the worst part.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've got that, but also just because it's not very. I mean, there's literal floods in this state. It's not very warm yet. Third year La Nina, cold wet, etc.
Does the tournament have rained out written all over it?
I wouldn't say all over it, but it is splattered across it.
I just have a feeling, what with the floods and all.
With a huge amount of precipitation drenching the country, especially the East Coast, where most of the games have been played in the latter stages of the tournament.
Yeah.
Although Adelaide's got themselves a semi-final.
Yeah, well done, Adelaide.
Well
congrats
done.
to Adelaide.
Hey, good for them.
A little transformation. You've been working hard on the rig.
One of the best places to watch cricket in the world.
Yeah.
Good for them, I guess.
Adelaide.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Little hill there, out the back.
But I should say, he goes, although the fever is coming on, or you feel something, or it's one of those things where I tend to get sick this time of year.
Yeah.
So something might be coming on.
Yeah.
TGC's going hard at the World Cup.
Are they?
They cover. Yeah, they are.
Okay.
It's a separate business. It's separate to your own.
Okay.
Individual. It's one of the things when you start a company, you actually you can make sure it's its own entity.
Yeah, it's like a Jim's mowing.
It can be sued separately.
Yes.
It's a liability thing.
Few people have tried.
Yeah, so between actually doing it and threatening,
yeah.
TGC's got some a fuckload of coverage coming up. What are we looking at here? Because I mean, obviously we'll be doing 3 full pods that go for 2 hours each, but then we got 25 post game reviews.
Is that
through this? Yeah, it genuinely is. What games are we not covering post game? So straight after the game, if you are familiar with YouTube, you'll know this scenario. We're still working on a name for it, but after the game, in any game of club cricket, you get back in the sheds. The captain's there, usually half naked, draped in a towel, if you're lucky. Giving their impression of the game, which is what we're going to do. And, that impression may skew into bemusing tangents, based on prejudice. Not any, not any. I feel like when you say prejudice these days, now it sounds like it's sort of racial or ethnic. No, just any prejudice.
Pride and Prejudice.
Exactly. That's right. Skew into some Pride and Prejudice gear. People are like this in the sheds. People are like this watching YouTube, and by that I mean, some might be half listening and the other half are touching themselves.
Yeah.
So we're going to have 25 episodes of a format we're calling at this stage, telling you a basic summary, or Tubbs. We've got 4 episodes of Sidemouth, all outside the MCG. So that's basically fan cams capturing the raw energy of drunk or type A personality types outside the ground. I think Arsenal fan TV, but not targeting people with mild clinical characteristics. Interviews, possibly live streams, even maybe a net with Shane Watson. There's a bit going on for us the next couple of weeks in the World Cup.
Nice. Well, you get access to all the audio for that exclusively at patreon.com/greatcricketer. If you've got a better name than that, let us know at Patreon. Patreon.com/greatcricketer. You sign up, $5, $10 a month. You get the audio exclusively there if you don't watch our shit on YouTube. Which some of you don't.
Also, I mean, we're emceeing a massive gig this Friday coming.
Charity function.
LBW Trust annual dinner is on this coming Friday in Sydney, 24 hours before the opening match. So we're gonna get a sense if there's a buzz around town. Like I remember a buzz around town before the Sydney Olympics. I went to school in the city at the time. There was buzz. There was a buzz before the 2003 World Cup.
Definitely.
Will there be a buzz before the T20 World Cup postponed 2 years after when it was meant to be run?
1 year after the last one.
1 year after the last one, and we're at Randwick Racecourse. But we are doing this dinner. We're emceeing this dinner for the LBW Trust. Very excited about it. Harsha Bogle is in conversation with Mike Coward. Madison De Rosario, champion Paralympic athlete, is there. We'll be interviewing her. She's gold medalist, obviously, in multiple formats. Lounge suit attire. I think tickets are gone, so I don't know why I'm talking about it. But yeah, so it's just we're going large, is all I'm saying.
One of the games that India's playing that night, we're doing a live show at the Corner Hotel, which is already sold out.
Oh yeah, we're doing a live show too.
So there's a bit on. So if you want to get around TGC, get around us, and we'll get around you in the cyclical arrangement, as is our want and indeed yours. Let's talk about some of the teams that play cricket in this thing.
Yep.
Australia and England are 2 of those teams. England just beat us 2.9-0. Fuck off. Rain saved us in much the same way that Jimmy Anderson saved the 5-0 whitewash there at the SCG by defending the last few balls from Steve Smith. So I suppose they're 2 teams that can play in this thing, and England keeps saying Australia's a favourite. Aaron Finch, let me read you a quote from Aaron Finch after the defeat. There's a few alarm bells ringing, surely. And Finch said, think the guys are probably a little bit tired at the moment, in all honesty. The schedule has been so packed over the last 6 or 8 weeks, we identified a couple of months ago that we want to be peaking at the right time for the World Cup and not beforehand. So it's going to be important over the next couple of days to try and freshen everyone up as much as we can. A glass of water will freshen up, get in the shower.
Speaking of just memory freshness, let me cast your mind back. Pakistan v Australia, momentous semi-final last year in the UAE, 2021.
Yeah.
What happened?
Finch won the toss.
Exactly. Had to look it up.
Wasn't it one of the great... Yeah, that's when Wade hit Shaheen for like 3 sixes in the last over, didn't it? It was like one of the most heroic come-from-behind chases that you'll ever see.
Yeah, that's right.
And people today, still in cafes and bars, are just... I saw a bloke with tattoo on his neck over it.
Yes. You're right. Okay, we passed the test. I had
to think about it.
I was all over Crick Info for that. But like to like Finch's point on that, I mean, you can go through Australia and you can say like, well, they are a settled side. I looked at that team that won the semi-final and the final, and the only change to that team is going to be Steve Smith out, Tim David in. It seems, and everyone just shuffles up one. Stoinis and Maxwell, and Tim David comes in. But like. Yeah, we're the defending champions, because it's we now. We lost 2.9-0 England recently. We scraped past the Windies, who are still waiting for their luggage at the airport.
Yeah, who still have to qualify for the thing.
One of our opening bats, I'll leave it to the audience to guess who, hasn't looked like taking down an attack in 2 years.
Not opening. Did a cut 4.
And his inclusion increasingly feels like a reward, which may or may not be the first real blot on the coach and selector's copybook. And the other opening bat has already scored all of his runs. And has a crick neck.
Yeah.
The most explosive player in the team hasn't made a run in living memory, so that's about 5 or 6 weeks. Rest of the batting order seems to have only just recovered from injury. Stark never seems to play. And I'm taking all this to mean Australia's set to explode. We're good to go.
They are primed.
Because in 2020 cricket, it seems to me that the worse you're doing, the better you're going to do.
That does what it seems to be, yeah.
I tried to use the same logic in preseason. Like when I played, still just got picked in fours. But like how about this? Marnus Labuschagne, you know him.
I remember him, yeah.
He's been tweeting about the T20 side.
Yeah.
So he backs this up. So Crick Info posted an enormous graphic recently detailing like the litany of consecutive single-digit scores of Glenn Maxwell, accompanied by a picture of sad Glenn Maxwell, full frame, trudging from the field. And the copy from Crick Info said, Glenn Maxwell isn't having a great time with the bat in T20 eyes. Yeah. Marnus decides, I would quote tweet that.
Yeah.
And says, have the feeling Maxie's about to go big this World Cup. Class is permanent.
Okay.
And a couple of responses to that. So he's publicly implying his own teammates out of form.
Okay.
One, he's obviously happy to publicly repost Maxwell's failures to 119.1k followers, which has since been retweeted 150 times and liked 3,000 times.
Yeah.
But finally, like it is a high-profile player, international player, providing proof that when it comes to T20 cricket, the worse you're going, the better you're going to do. And Maxwell's going to be player of the tournament. That's pretty clear at this point, isn't it?
It's fairly clear. It is fairly clear at the moment. It's like a game of roulette where you're always on evens and then just goes going odd and odd and odd. Well, one's coming in. My number's coming in.
So Australia just screams tournament play, doesn't it? Like it screams tournament play. Like it's a World Cup. We're at home.
Yeah.
Like we don't actually grow the proverbial leg. Like we just say that we do, and others believe it's true. Like we're the Gruffalo's child. We're the we're just a run of the mill mouse who turns into a big bad mouse once the moonlight casts a shadow. Yeah. And I've always said that.
Yeah. See, now England have just won an amazing series in Pakistan.
Yep.
4-3.
They couldn't be more prepared.
And they've just beaten Australia 2.9-0, fuck off, in Australia against Australia 2s in the first game. But then the other 2 games, first 11s. Australia first 11s. And I close my eyes, Pez, and I just think, can I envisage an England cricket team holding up an ICC tournament trophy in Australia? And I think we all know the answer. Just can't say. But why? All their players are... Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Clip it up.
Yeah, of course. Clip it up. Yeah, I mean, get around. Click like and subscribe. You know, all their players are really good. Like
mate.
Sam Curran's not even like, he's probably the most effective bowler in the series, just gone. A wonderful series, an highly skilled cricketer.
They couldn't deal with him.
Sensational.
He played threes here.
Liam Livingston's just decimated the BBL apparently by being in the test squad now. He's going sensationally. What about, Joss Butler's my favourite player to watch, as you know. Reece Topley, fucking hell, I'm scared of it. I'm aroused by it.
Bloke's on the sideline.
Will they make a semi-final?
Besto and Archer are intimidating me and not even playing. One bloke's leg doesn't even work.
Oh, the bruising scares me. Fuck me. You know, but then Australia, no form, no runs.
Mate, they'll knock us over at the MCG in the round game too.
Good luck to them.
Have a beer afterwards in Richmond. All good. Go to the corner. But they're
going to win, aren't they?
Yeah, let's keep going. Are they going to knock us over in a semi or a final? I wouldn't have thought so.
How?
Yeah.
I've never seen it before, so therefore it will never happen.
Like T20.
Pretty sure Pompeii said that when they're looking at Vesuvius. It'll never happen.
Thought you were talking about Portsmouth with a posh accent.
Oh yeah.
Pompeii.
Fratton Park.
T20 cricket is meant to circumvent all of this vibes chat via data, analytics, matchups, and it largely does. But I just think when it comes to tournament play, especially if you're out of form, there's just one way you can understand cricket. It's a new spectrum I've developed. It's the Mark Waugh WinViz spectrum.
Fuck yeah!
Where do you sit on the Mark Waugh WinViz spectrum? Because it's all well and good to have been someone who understands intellectual rigor, who knows objectivity, who knows mathematics, and that person's going to skew towards WinViz.
Yeah.
But if you ever watch Mark Waugh play or listen to him, and just generally got around it and it around you, I'm kind of leaning Mark Waugh, really, and I think so is Australia.
Yeah,
Australia's got its matchup stuff sorted. Vittoria's there, Andrew McDonald's there, Finch. They know how to do all of that kind of stuff. But then in tournament play, it becomes vibration.
Yeah, I'm just not sure form exists in T20. It's just I think Australia's not allowed to form it out of runs and wickets and catching. Some of the catching was some of the worst I've seen for Australia in a hot minute. But that's no problem.
That's why Warner. I'm very concerned about Warner for this World Cup.
Runs.
He's looking too good too early.
Now he injured his neck with whiplash.
Yeah, that's true.
18 holes next morning.
Yeah, but couldn't play the game.
18 holes though.
That's right. Well,
Went 2 under.
Pretty good for you. Yeah, that's right. Keep your head still.
Keep your head still. Yeah.
You don't actually want to strike with a frozen head though, so I'm told. But I mean, to further support this, and I know this to be true because I've got a few things hot off the press I want to say. But I don't know were you watching the rain-affected game against England? Where
I couldn't tell my eyes off it.
Fox guys did put together a number of good longer interviews than normal, and one of them was with Ashton Agar,
right?
And he made a quick remark among making a broader point about the vibe of the team. He loves the team.
Yeah.
And Ash is good like that. This is a sort of alternative alphas in the Aussie side as well.
He is one of the great blokes as well.
He is. Very impressive.
And I'll be
guy.
the arbiter of who is in the good.
Of course, that's right. Yeah. And he made this reference really quickly to a song that they play, the Aussie team.
It's not Wonderwall, is it?
Well, it's not. But Aussies don't really have a very lyrical culture in terms of its singing and stuff. But it doesn't mind a song.
John Williamson wouldn't mind a word. Speak to my good friend Doss.
John Williamson says hello. But he talked about this song that sounded funny to me called Cella Luna. And he was saying in this interview that they just love it. They're the boys just love it, and we're banging the walls. And I'm like, kind of having spent time with Ashton's brother recently in Darwin, as we both did, and thinking about Ashton kind of runs in the circles with Zampa and Stoinis and stuff. I'm like, this is going to be ironic. And so I had to have a listen, and we've got so this is the song. In the past, he goes, there's been a couple of, I suppose, what Australians would describe as bangers that have kind of been the musical background, the musical kind of undercurrent, the spirit.
One of my favourites, The Man from Snowy River.
Exactly. Yeah, it started.
Absolute
in Bradman, it was just
banger.
It was someone just reading out Banjo Patterson poetry.
Mate, if I'm at Revs and The Man from Snowy River comes on, see you later. Jaw all over the place.
But it has evolved, Then it goes to probably some In Excess shit or whatever. With respect, good, obviously great band. And then you obviously have True Blue and stuff. But your Australian cricket team, if you are Australian listening to this is just before they go out to play.
Oh, it's before?
And this is what Ashton said.
Okay.
This is what they get themselves pumped up to.
Okay.
There's another band. There's another group that they play before, actually, that leaves you thinking your jaw would be on the other side of the wall of the room. But after that, they play, this is the last song they play before they head out there.
Okay.
This is the team. So you can imagine everyone in the Australian cricket team banging the walls.
Yep.
You've got this, don't you, lined up to this. Let's demonetize this whole video.
Hey, come on! Hey! I'm very silly, lads!
Now, can you just slide me down while I keep talking? Yeah. So just listen to that. Let's go in the background. If you're under any illusions that this team isn't fully evolved away from the True Blue generation, like, listen to this song and tell me it's not deployed in... Here we go. Go, Finchie!
These blokes are the worst fucking blokes in the comp.
Oh, key change. Let's go. And keep going. And I've got some exclusive news. Here goes. Keep it going, but just slide me down. I've got exclusive news. I'm prepared to reveal here. I've been told this. The Australian men's T20 team has, and I quote, fucked True Blue off in team songs now. Inverted commas. Now, I'm unprepared at this juncture to reveal the source of that quote, but it's news that I'll stand by. Have I cross-checked it? No. Have I corroborated it? No. Did one person say it to me? Possibly. But despite the... I stand by this.
Lads.
We got to get this song going, this World Cup.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get this going. Yeah. Now, just slide me down just a little bit more. You're on Lyrics Genius with Cella Luna.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm not going to read out the
It's a
Italian.
restaurant on Chapel Street. Italian joint.
Well, someone's contributed to this. It translates as, if I choose for you the fisherman, he will come and he will go, but he will be holding the fish in his hands. And if he so pleases, he'll fish you, my daughter dear. Now, the interpretation is that the first stanza is in Sicilian. The mother talks about why the fisherman won't be a good fit for her daughter. He's always holding the fish in his hands. Brackets pesky being a double entendre, as it's also slang for penis in Sicilian. Later on, says, Mama dear, come over here and see who's looking in my window. It's the baker boy, and look, he's got a cannoli in his hands. And again, the Lyrics Genius says that the daughter is calling her mother's attention to the first boy who's looking in her window watching her change. She goes on to joke that he's playing with himself as he watches her.
Oh, fuck.
So that's us. That's Australia, this tournament. And you know what? Say what you want about data and WinViz and shit, but that's a vibe to me. That sounds like a vibe.
And here's England's.
I was saying boo.
So
England winning every game by an innings.
do you want to quickly go over the Stark Butler thing? Do you want to say anything on that shit?
I knew that Finch said he wasn't a fan of it. He said he's not a fan of,
the
non-striker run-out thing. Rolls off the tongue. Not a fan. I mean, and I like that. I like that because I want to know who is a fan of it. Like, I want people to be buying little flags outside the ground.
Oh, like Stark warned Butler basically. He says, I'm not deep, but I'll do it. And Butler says, don't think I was out of my ground. Pictures later show that he was out of his ground. So in short, Butler's cheated. Stark's missed a run out.
Yeah.
And excuse me while I go and solve this Rubik's Cube in 6 seconds.
While I come into a sock.
Where's that song again? It makes me feel so happy. Is it this one? Oh, shit. Let's keep it going. On David Warner's leadership issue. As reported by Brettig, the CA board commissioned a review of the code of conduct to allow for sentences to be commuted.
Shit.
You know what? We should go to Reece Topley after this.
Fuck me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But first,
Yeah,
off the back of that beautiful music, actually, it conjures thoughts of Sicily and Italy, and and if you're kicking around that neck of the woods, particularly in the summertime, you will want to be doing that in Budgie Smugglers. You will want to be doing that in Budgie Smugglers. Yeah. We've been talking about the ordinary rigs. It doesn't matter what your rig would look like. And I happened, and this has been the first time I've done this for a while. I happened onto the Budgie Smuggler website, and fuck me, it's a wonderful canvas of rigs of all shapes and sizes. Some of them ordinary, some of them extraordinary. I'm just going to be honest. And that's just the.
Sorry, I'm thinking about the amount of copyright strikes we're about to get on YouTube. 100% worth it. 100%.
I'm about to come into a sock. It is the anthem of the World Cup. I'm telling you, it's the anthem. The Budgie Smuggler have it going on for you wherever you are in the world. I know we're in a bit of a shoulder season at the moment, really, he goes, aren't we? We're in a shoulder season, if you observe the 4 seasons. And I'm not referring to the band.
Or the Crowded House song.
It was just 4 seasons for short.
Or the chain of hotels. Don't like the chain of hotels?
Yeah.
4 seasons?
Yeah. New sponsorship.
With booking.com or some shit.
Yeah. Now, tight show today. Budgie Smuggler has just got you covered for fucking not only your swimwear, but all your apparel these days.
Yeah.
And if you head on to budgiesmuggler.com today, you use the code CHAMP, something might happen for you. Something might not either, but something might happen for you there. You go to budgiesmuggler.com. I'm going to say that because we are in a World Cup theme. But if you are feeling extra patriotic and you do have Cello Luna in your head, budgiesmuggler.com.au.
Here he is. Here's the great man, Reece Topley.
He's 6'7". He has an Uber rating of 4.68. It's England fast bowler Reece Topley. Reece, thanks for joining the great cricketer.
Oh, nice to be here.
Good numbers.
Is that true, Reece? Yeah, normally we start with like stats and stuff like that, but I figured let's go deeper. It's on your bio Instagram. You just let people know Uber rating. You could do any number in the world, and you are a cricketer. Not most of us are solving Rubik's cubes, talking about numbers and stuff, but you just gone for the old Uber rating, 4.68.
Yeah, something happened in the back there.
Yeah,
0.32 at some.
I think it's actually lower than that now. Obviously, you depend on them quite a lot to get around in London. I actually don't drive back home. But yeah, I mean, I suppose if you're a stats man, I suppose they're the stats that really matter, aren't they? Yeah, it's not the most impressive numbers, so hopefully my cricket ones are slightly better.
I mean, I didn't expect to labour this point at the start of this interview, but you proactively chose to put that as your bio, like Uber rating 4.68. So, were you just thinking, look, people need to know something about me?
I was just a bit stuck of what to put, and I don't like the typical like Reece Topley left arm bowler or something, or proudly sponsored by some insurance or something. I was just like, what's a bit different, and I just thought I'd put it out there. It's not too revealing, but slightly informative for any cricket fan. I think it's a new dimension of getting to know a player.
It is one of the key conversations people have about pro cricketers. Like, what do we reckon about an Uber rating? Where are they at? No, I like it very much. You've come from ICC content capture day today, haven't you? This is the day where they get all the cricketers in. You wear the kit. They make you feign emotions for things. Is that right? Do you like those days? Do you feel like you can get method with it?
I don't know. So it is obviously enjoyable. It's like a unique thing. It's just one day, and you get these really nice pictures of yourself that hopefully you're gonna use them to remember a time where you go this photo. You show your family this is when we did the media day and we actually won the World Cup, or there's it's more the tournament has the photos and the hype, and it is a nice aspect, but it's safe to say that I'm not jumping ship to like a modelling career or anything soon, because you just don't know what to do with yourself. Your feet are just stuck. You don't know, like, when you just smile normally, you suddenly start thinking like, am I smiling too much? Is my smile too wide? Like it's just crazy how it works. But yeah, it was a long day. And then beautifully round up by, I actually missed all the interviews that I had. I left the ground and left the journalist just waiting there. So that wasn't ideal.
I think content capture day is the reason why most of the guys get their teeth done. I'm pretty certain that's the reason. Reece, let's not beat around the bush. Let's get into it. You're massive. You're a rig. You're salad. Your chest, your pipes. You probably smell good. You're very good looking in a bad boy likes poetry kind of way. You're inked up. I'm aroused by you. I'm a bit afraid of you, but I'm in love with you. I'm just riffing now. Let's not beat around the bush.
Let's get straight to it.
I'm sick of beating around the bush.
I was waiting for you to say it.
I want to know, what's your relationship with Australia? I know you spent some time here, but I imagine people are they warming to you here? I know because now you play for England, so now everyone has to hate you, especially in Brisbane. That's kind of the contractual obligation of Queensland. But what's your relationship with Australia?
I absolutely love Australia. Thanks for those comments, by the way, as well. That's very kind of you. I love Australia.
Later on, if you win the World Cup.
I love Australia. I spent so much time in Melbourne. Melbourne's, mate, it's honestly my favourite place. Yeah. All the Renegades boys will probably rip into me about the fact that I'm going on about it again. But I swear that where did we stay? We stayed in Paran. It was just the most amazing suburb. You've got Chapel Street on your doorstep. You got good food, good vibes. It's just, mate, I love Australia. I can't get enough of it. I've got a lot of friends in, obviously from the Renegades. I'm quite close with Kane Richardson, who's a good guy. I can't speak highly enough of the place, honestly.
We're actually on Chapel Street at the moment. It's where our studio is, but I'm surprised to hear you say that, because we love Melbourne. We live in Melbourne as well, not from here originally, but tend to find that Melburnians will put forward how much Melbourne is actually quite European, and then people from Europe come over and no, not really.
I can see it. I can see it because it's got the seasonal sort of aspect of where I think a lot of the rest of Australia doesn't have as much seasonal change. I think Melbourne's good because also the beaches are pretty shitty in England. So where I think that the people and the culture sort of is made from not just the one thing that annoys me about Sydney is that everyone goes, but the beaches, but everywhere in the world's got beaches, whereas Melbourne, I just think Melbourne's just got I don't know, just the people make it. They don't just rely on a beach. There's just other stuff to do.
It's gonna be a lot of Aussies listening to this who are a little bit taken aback because and not trusting of this, Reece, because you're been glowing about Australia. I mean, the other day, we don't need to go into it, but Joss said he didn't want to create a problem in Australia as well. Is what I the journalist is in me is just going, do England have a plan to come and put on a charm offensive in Australia and tell Australians how good the whole country is and confuse us?
Yeah. Maybe what I'd like to think of, maybe I'm like this Trojan horse, this vessel where I've spent a year growing a mullet, and then hopefully, the Australians will sort of welcome us with open arms because they go, he's got a mullet, we accept him.
We are simple. So one more, just because we're on the same topic. But one of the reasons we were really keen to talk to you, Reece, is there's myriad reasons. Firstly, everything Higo said before, and that pretty much covers all of it. But the other night on Fox, when you guys were going through a rain delay or whatever, Mark Hussey, who's with the team, who's with England, that is, was being interviewed and cajoled on air for wearing England kit and stuff like that. And poor Huss was just trying to say, look, I'm just doing my job and I like being part of the team. It's fine. But among other things, he said he said like, oh, the England guys are good. Like, Reece Topley went and visited an art gallery today. He's like, they're really cultured. So, I guess I have to ask, like, are you an art connoisseur or just a normal person who likes visiting art galleries?
Well, okay, firstly, things to do in Canberra. The list isn't very long. So, yeah, I do like going to galleries. Obviously, I've got many in London. But obviously, it being the National Gallery of Australia, I was quite keen to go. I've been to is it the NGV?
Yeah.
I've been there. That was really good as well. So it's just one of those things, though, because obviously I'm not young anymore in a cricket sense. I'm 28. I'm not a spring chicken, and those days used to be maybe a bit dusty. That now I've found something better to be doing in my time. So when I was younger, obviously, like, you'd get back, you'd have a lot more energy. You could have a beer after the game or whatever. But now, a bit older, I have to find some things to be doing that weren't that. So that was another way to kill time. That was a bit better, than going to a pub or something.
Take us into Camp England. Like, we've been talking about how there's so much data and like analysis and matchup chat that goes on in T20 cricket. It's all broken down into little segments and it's all about mathematics now and stuff like that. But it seems the edge that teams can get now all comes down to like friendship and vibes, like the Australian cricket team, they want to talk about wearing ski goggles if they win the tournament. They've got an Italian song called Cella Luna that like gets them going and stuff. They're all about friendships and, things like that. Like, what does England have something similar? Like, I know you guys like to warm up playing football or you're not allowed or something, but like, what's the edge that England brings when it comes to the camp? Galleries.
What I can reveal, that's going to be public knowledge. That's not going to give away, our sort of secret formula. We've got a game called Pig, which is basically keepy uppies, and whoever messes up, they get a letter, and then you obviously spell the name or spell the word pig, and then the loser just gets flicks on their forehead from everyone. But people have been sort of devising, how can I get the hardest flick? From a limited action, how can I inflict quite a bit of pain? And obviously, because of that aspect, people have got pretty good at it. And then you don't really want to lose. So it is really good. It's a warm up training day. You name it. That we're always playing it. Uh-huh. And then and another one, a tip of the cap to Mo and Rash, because those two, when you talk about like a team environment, those two are just absolute gold. They're brilliant. Like for one example that just happened downstairs is that we were debating with me and Joss are debating with Mo and Rash whether Australia was a continent or not. But the best thing about this though is that Rash somehow found a website. I couldn't see it, but he found a website that backed his point up that Australia was a continent. And then I was just like, well, what continent would New Zealand be on then? And then you could just see him sort of think for a second. But it was one of those ones where like we can't go too much into this because I don't know if everyone's joking or if this is serious. But those two are just brilliant for sort of team camaraderie and stuff like that.
I'm actually with Adil Rashid. Australia's a continent.
Yeah, but I'm actually taking more away that Johnny Bairstow fractured his leg playing pig. A real hard flick. Just got a real hard flick on the golf course. And Reece, I know you've spoken at length about your stress fractures over 4 or 5 years, that the sort of 4 or 5 stress fractures over the same amount of years, right? And you had great perspective of the game. And I think even talking now, you imbue this sense that cricket is just one part of your life. You are not necessarily just a cricketer. You're also a guy who catches Ubers, sometimes successfully. But like when you played club cricket, did that give you any sort of joy? Did it make you fall in love with the game at all? Or was it just guys being like, Why don't you just play
Yeah.
cricket, man?
Yeah. So it was strange because I went to a boarding school and I played professionally at 17, and I played quite a lot of a season, for a 17-year-old.
Hmm.
And I just remember that because I was at boarding school, it was like, right, there's a car coming to pick you up that's going to take you to Chelmsford, and you're going to play a game for Essex. And it was kind of a point where I didn't actually sort of know what I wanted. I didn't even take a step back and be like, okay, what's my career going to be? It was just, I was young and people were telling you to go places. And I remember like for the first year, because I was at boarding school, I couldn't go to the shops. I was obviously living on the site. So I didn't even, have a credit card. I didn't know that I was sort of being paid to play. Just because the world was my school campus, and then it was kind of like, oh, okay, so I guess this is what I'm going to do, and then I would put it down to falling in love with cricket again was when I spent time in Australia when I was actually sort of coming back from an injury where I was bowling at some of the Victorian cricketers, like sort of during the Big Bash, the guys that weren't in a squad, and the Australian way that cricket is, I don't know if not played, but like the whole the outlook of cricket in Australia is what I loved. All of a sudden that I didn't have in England, because in England it's like this, it's almost like a boring pastime, but whereas in Australia I love the sort of folklore aspect of it, where like, there's guys that it's basically the guys that are playing on a Saturday are the guys that have sort of managed a hangover and not gone too hard on the Friday. And then, there's all, the chat about rigs and, all this crazy stuff. I honestly, I just loved it. And then I was like, no, this is class. Let's get back into it.
Yeah.
Also, like I know your old man and your uncle were first class cricketers, and then you've gone on to play for England. So in a way, you've defeated them. Would that be about right?
Yeah, and they know about it at every family get together. So that's it's something that I'll let them both know. But obviously, having family that play cricket it's good, and there's obviously a history and there's obviously an understanding, which helps me, because obviously cricket isn't the most easy sport to sort of explain to people, but it's good having a family that already knows the ins and outs.
6 for 24 at Lords. I remember at the time you were saying you didn't want to focus on it too much because you really wanted to get to the World Cup, and that was your big focus. And you took time off from the 100. But now you're here, right? And you're in the World Cup and you're going to do it, man. Can we talk about how fucking cool it is? You took 6 for 24 against India at Lords, best ever figures in an ODI on that particular ground, which I think has some history there. I think some games have been played there before. That's a fucking, man, 6 for 24. Can we talk about it yet?
Absolutely. It was, yeah, it was just honestly so surreal. It was just one of those things where it was just amazing. It was just like I was there, but I was sort of just going through it, and it was kind of like everything was just happening without much like rhyme or reason, or it was just amazing. And my parents were there, and my dad was actually on the ground staff at Lords. He used to live there when he was 18, so we've got a bit of family history with Lords. No, it was amazing. And then obviously you don't set out to go, right, I'm going to get 6 for 24. It happened. And then I think when I got I got 3 of the first 4. And then you start to think, wow, there's a chance that I could get 4 or 5. And then the way that the last 3 wickets went, and it was crazy. And obviously being in London, I had a lot of friends that were there, so it was nice that they got to see. My sister, I think, was working in London, so she nipped over on her lunch break to watch or something like that.
Oh, sick.
No, it was an amazing day, and probably, the only way from there is down, unfortunately.
Speaking of like Australian ways of enjoying things, like it did also afford you the opportunity. I think this happened after your 6 for 24 in a press conference. You said that you'd never really seen Surya Kumar Yadav play because you're not a big cricket watcher, which I thought was a really good alpha play. Like the guy's world class, but just to be able to rock up to an international and go like, look, I don't watch a bunch of this stuff. And I just think that's some of the rewards that come with making 6 for 24.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of truth in that. Is that I hadn't seen him play, but it seems like ever since then he's on every highlight that you seem to watch. He's just smacking the ball everywhere. Yeah, I'm not a massive cricket watcher. I think it can sort of sometimes cloud your mind, and I think in cricket it's got this amazing thing when we talk about analytics and stuff. Is that the obvious answer in cricket is often the first one that you think of, and it's right in front of you. And then you have a chat on the field with different people, and you get to this ridiculous idea that's miles away from what is just like the obvious first choice that came to your head. And I like to sort of play, or I like to speak to Joss, and then we just sort of basically he just tells me what to do. But like it's that instinct. It's just like, oh, well, I think he's lining me up here, and then we just chat and we go off it. So I think it has its advantages.
I know you've told this story many times, but I want to hear it straight from you. Like the incident when you were 15, you're bowling to Kevin Peterson, and then he's just smoked one into your head. What happened?
It's net bowling.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously. I think I was in like the pathway stuff. So I think there was an under-17s England team, and obviously the coaches were like, "Well, we're going to need bowlers. Why don't you come up and bowl?" So I went to Loughborough. I bowled a really good spell for a 15-year-old at the England squad, and then Kevin Peterson, last ball I bowled. Last ball I bowled. He just drilled it back at me, and obviously I had my head turned where I was bowling, hit me on the bottom of the ear, and it would just split it going in the ear and then around and out the back. So obviously. I just remember looking at like the white turf. I was sort of like on my hands and knees looking at the white turf, and then you sort of see some drips of blood, and then it's like the delayed. It starts hurting a lot, and I went to, and I was at 15. I was probably 6'2", 6'3", but because I was 15, they sent me to the child's ward, and there was children's beds, and my feet were hanging out the end. Which wasn't ideal, but he gave me a bat, and I haven't really seen him since. So,
well.
First one. Yeah. Anyone else? Anything else? No, good. Reece, we'll let you go, mate. Thanks so much for enduring that. I hope that wasn't too far from the norm of the interviews that you do. And have a great tournament, mate. I'm glad that Australia's a place that you love, and we hope that you go well.
No, thanks. One last thing, I just had to mention David Saker. So I just want to say, David Saker, he kicked 100 goals for Phillip Island Football Club, and got Mark of the Year 1 year. So I just wanted to mention him.
Nice one, Reece. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Thank you very much to Reece Topley. Where do you want to go next, Pez? Do you want to talk about Warner's leadership ban? Do you want to talk about that?
We should probably talk about some other teams in the World Cup first, shouldn't we?
Okay, yeah, okay. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's talk about India then. Do you want to talk about India? Do some India stuff?
Yeah. Kick us off.
All right. Well, Shami is replacing Boomer in the squad. Lord, Shardul Thakur, and Mo Siraj are the backups. Shami hasn't played in Shami hasn't played in 3 months. He had COVID. He was rested for series. That means he's fucking primed, ready to go.
Yeah, so he'll be bowler of the tournament.
Yep. Western Australia beat India in the warm-up game. Don't know what that means. Teague Wiley, friend of the show, actually got to meet his hero Rahul Dravid afterwards. Nice footage of that. Australia and India actually play tomorrow. I think it's at the Gabba. It's in Brisbane. There's a whole bunch of games in Brisbane tomorrow. At the same time, New Zealand are playing against South Africa. Later that night, England playing Pakistan, Afghanistan playing Bangladesh. Those are all in Brisbane.
So this is the equivalent game to when Australia played India in a warm-up last year, which was televised, and I believe this was when Kohli was bowling to them. Isn't this when Kohli had a rock and roll to them?
I do not remember that.
Yeah. It's forms part of a KO ad now where they're watching themselves have Kohli bowl to them, and they're all worried about him getting them out. Actually, he rolls them over quite nicely, really, Kohli. Right. So,
yeah, but this is that's actually, imagine, talk about a fucking heavy ball. The weight on that delivery. I don't know if you know, but Kohli's got a couple of IG followers.
Yeah.
And that's going to, precede a torrent of abuse online if you get picked up by VK.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be sensational. That is just one of the great bowls you could have if you're at Kohli.
Yeah, 100%.
Just can't lose.
Well, Dinesh Karthik had a role, didn't he, in the South Africa series?
That's right.
Yeah, and similar vibes. Similar vibes.
So what's this like? I feel like there's nothing attached to this warm up at all. This is just guys who just want to have a bit of a trot because they're horses.
Yeah, I think so. I understand that Stoinis, Marsh, and Warner are all going to be conservatively rested for Australia.
Okay.
No idea.
Not aggressively.
Not aggressively. Fuck, that's an aggressive rest. Jesus Christ. Why don't we just play them? Fuck
leaves.
me.
Yeah.
What, they're not playing? Wow, okay. Message received.
Great picture Stoinis put up on IG the other day. Speaking of this, too, Stoinis just chucked a little one up of him having a beer with Virat, like outdoors in Perth. Like, Virat would never be able to do that at home. You'd imagine. No. Both of them looking pretty good in sunnies, and also some other bloke there. That's, probably
He's wearing a watch that Virat's given him. There's something going on with there's something going on with Virat giving blokes watches, and then they post a photo of them wearing the watch, and then Virat comments on the Instagram, "Nice watch," but he's given it to them as a gift.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's saying it like ironically, or if it's a commercial tie-up, or it's a suggestion of he's going to die. It's like a kiss of death. I give you a watch. Oh no, he kissed me on the forehead.
Oh my god.
I'm aroused, but I'm going to die.
I don't know what else is
What is it about India?
What is it about India?
Well, we can ask Bharat.
I suppose we can. India have also got a warm up in Brisbane against New Zealand on Wednesday. As well. So those are the two hits before the World Cup proper starts on Sunday.
So you've got so many games before the World Cup starts, you still wouldn't want runs in those games.
Too early.
Because you're going to be out.
You
would not want to bowl well, field well.
No, I would say that game against New Zealand on Wednesday, unless you have some really good nets.
I've got some questions about that coming up to Bharat as well, because apparently you can... You know, like this is what you say. If someone's out of form, you say, no, but they look good in the nets. And that actually carries weight in T20 cricket. No, he looks still. Or he's hitting the ball longer than ever. It's like, oh, okay.
Or if you're in fourth grade and you're 15. Good in the nets, fuck me.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this, but an RCB fan was arrested in Tamil Nadu for allegedly killing his friend, who was an MI fan. And they were having an argument about Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, who's better. Fucking hell.
That's grim stuff.
That's fucking grim.
I need to read the article before assessing if there's any
there's any angle you want to take with it. Well, I just feel like
sounds like someone's been murdered.
That's the kind of weight that these guys are taking on. Just like, who's the better player in the same team?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I
don't know, mate.
That's tragic.
India women won their 7th Asia Cup out of 8, defeating Sri Lanka.
Okay.
In the final there in Bangladesh. First time Sri Lanka have been in the final in 14 years, and they made 65 for 9.
Okay.
India got those in 8.5 overs. So that's just cricket, isn't it? Isn't that just cricket? You make your first final for 14 years, celebration, great achievement.
India women are coming for us. They're coming.
Well, you say that. Now, the BCCI have confirmed there's a 5-team women's IPL starting in March next year, directly after the Women's World Cup final in South Africa, which is on February 26th.
Right.
So circle that one on the calendar. Women's IPL, it's been a long time coming. So yeah, this is to your point that they're coming. They're coming. Dada's contesting the Cricket Association of Bengal polls.
I just took 3 words of that.
And that's India.
Good.
I guess New Zealand, Pakistan, and Bangladesh have been in a tri-series. Pakistan won that tri-series. Babar says that Shaheen is fully fit. You know, he's doing rehab at Crystal Palace.
Oh, nice. Like that.
With Wilf Saha.
Nice little crossover there.
I don't know if you've seen this, mate, but on the internet, Pakistan cricket fans have been saying that Rizwan's been batting too slow. Yeah. They're not pleased with him.
I've been seeing it. I've seen it.
And there's a litany of it.
That's part of their setup, though, isn't it? Isn't that how they want to do it? You know,
they won a lot of games with him scoring heaps of runs.
Yeah.
And people are saying they're winning, but they're winning in spite of him.
I've always been cynical and distrusted the anchor role chat generally. It's just like you drop anchor so others can go, but others don't want to go while you're dropping anchor. You can go at any time. In cricket, you can be out at any time. Anything can happen. You can be hit by a bus.
Muhammad Abbas.
That's right. Yes, Muhammad Abbas might hit you.
It's quite punchy.
But he's the anchor. I don't know. I like all minutes that Mo Rizwan spends at the crease. It's a salad. It's a face.
Yeah, but he only averaged 104 strike rate in the 10 overs in that New Zealand series in the first 10 overs. Only 104.
But they won.
But they won.
Pakistan have 4 blokes who bowl 150k plus.
Yeah.
They've probably got 2 of the top 5 to 10 T20I batters in the world.
Yep.
And they've sorted their middle order out. There's fucking Spin Deluxe with Shut Up Khan.
Yeah.
It's pretty
good.
It's something to look at.
Well, I think most
at
people...
the side of your, like, you won't give it full body language.
Now,
you won't face them, but
look,
you might have a look at the side of your eye.
It's good for them.
Yeah.
Like,
you might tilt your head and have a look at it.
Yeah. Look, can they win the tournament? Easily. Yeah, but I don't really rate it. For me, I reckon, though, I think they've nailed down the best kit. I think it's the best kit of the World Cup. I think so. You know, a huge disappointment for me is Zimbabwe. They've gone yellow. They've gone a bit of yellow in the kit.
Well, they've just got to make it through the twos fucking at the moment. Repechage, I think, is what they call it.
Do you think I think most people are saying India, Pakistan, England, and Australia for the semis.
Most people are saying India?
But that... Yeah. Most people. Nice. I know. What do you think? Who you got?
What'd you say? Like India, Pakistan, Australia, England?
Yeah.
Just 4 teams where Ramiz Raja's trying to sort of get himself in there.
yeah, the big 4, yeah.
Mate, I just think the whole format is so volatile. I'm
not even sure the winner will be like they're the best team. Unless our team wins, then it'll mean something.
Australia could dust everybody and Australia could be knocked out in group stage with the way it's set up at the moment. As long as that song gets a bit of a burl, I'm good.
A Ryan burl?
Yeah, exactly. Do you have a pick? Like, is there anyone head and shoulders for you? Like, every team has all those ones that you mentioned. They have their reasons why they'll do it and reasons why they don't. I know that sounds extremely trite, but like, there's strong reasons why many of them could, and there's strong reasons, like historic reasons why they can't. I don't know. It's T20 cricket. I
suppose so. New Zealand had a little bit of form. They're in this category where like South Africa, where they've got some players who are doing some stuff, but they keep losing heaps of games. So Finn Allen, who was picked ahead of Guptill in this series, was fucking smoking him. Let me get you a quote here from Kane Williamson. Kane Williamson said, "Finn Allen is super aggressive and hits the ball really, really hard." And I can imagine Kane Williamson actually saying that. He had 145. He was striking them at 145 across the 5 games. And then Michael Bracewell, who's a guy who played Test cricket once in England, he took 8 wickets at 4.94 runs and over. So that's good. But he's behind Neesham and Santner for the all-rounder spot anyway. And also, Glenn Phillips walked out to bat with John Cena's theme music. So that's good. It's 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks in a row for Glenn Phillips doing some stuff. He did the cock chat. He did the cock chat last week. Now he's doing some John Cena gear. I think he might be my new favourite player.
Just remind TGC is your one-stop shop for a World Cup preview. This is where you're going to get the best stuff. We got 10 extra minutes to talk here before we move on to the other thing that we're recording that's not in sync with people's listening habits here.
Okay. Well, do you want to talk about? Well, let's talk to Bharat then. But before we do, let's do T20 stars.
T20 stars, of course. What can I say? We have lined up potentially. We haven't got a venue yet. I'm hoping people want to open their arms to this, but our dear friend Shane Watson has agreed to net with us. He had a look at our net the other day and went, yeah, okay, I'll grace you with my presence. Yep. I don't know how it's going to look like. I mean, is someone going to have to bowl here? We're just going to watch him have a ball machine. I'll watch the shit out of it.
I'll watch the shit out of that.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I'm watching the shit out of this.
Exactly. And we're going to be doing that courtesy of T20 Stars with T20 Stars kit. They have some sensational bundles on their website at the moment. That's their new thing they got going. You can bundle up your kit. I'm going to have to put in the show notes potentially, he goes, what the promo code for that is, or maybe post it out in a day or two. But look at their bundles online. You're going to get some significant value, all shapes and sizes as well, by visiting t20stars.com. Use the code TGC15, I believe, for a little bit of a discount there. Tell them TGC sent you, sort of metaphorically. There's no actual place for you to tell them where to do that. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's t20stars.com. Use the code TGC15. Have a look at their bundles online.
Let's talk to Bharat.
He's formerly of the India Express. He's now in Australia with Crickbuzz. He's the author of both The Dhoni Touch and Believe. He commentates on SEN. You can see him at the Nets. And he has one of the best salads in the global cricket press. And I believe he was just doing his hair before we got online here as well. Finally, after many requests, we're thrilled to have him on. Welcome to the great cricketer, Bharat Sundaresan.
Thank you so much, guys. It feels like the whole world wanted us to get together, right? It's this matchmaking that has been in progress for a long time, but I never thought it would happen with me in a very seedy Hobart hotel, but here we are. At least it's happening. And yeah, I had to fix my hair. It's really windy outside.
It can happen anywhere. I don't know if this is like too far beyond your sensibilities, Bharat, but like just to illustrate how much we're in sync. Like the first time we met in the press box, we found ourselves going to the bathrooms at the same time, like 4 or 5 times. We were essentially on the same schedule. We were sort of bladder synchronized.
We're the Bladder Brothers. Yeah, I think if we ever had to form a tag team in wrestling, we would be the Bladder Brothers. I don't know what our finishing move would be, but I hope it has nothing to do with that region.
I've got a few ideas.
Yeah. Okay. Bharat, you're obviously you're in Hobart. You're in a seedy hotel room. You're part of the traveling circus. All the journos have gathered for the T20 World Cup. Like, would you say there's World Cup fever yet, or will we need like a non-striker run out, man cad, whatever the vernacular, to really light up this tournament?
Look, it's more a World Cup sneeze at the moment. I don't think it's the fever is really caught on. And Namibia beating Sri Lanka in that opening game is a good sign. I mean, any World Cup, whatever sport, you need an upset, right? You remember certain football World Cups much better because there was an upset to start with. I think so. It started off on the right note, but now that I've lived in Australia for a few years, I understand how it is. You're still kind of talking about the triple for quadruple trades in the AFL and all that still. So I don't think we really hit that cricket season yet. I commentated on a Shield game last week, and you still felt like people were still in football mode. It didn't help that they were launching a skate park right next to where we were, so at the Karen Roll. So anything but cricket at the moment. And I don't know whether the ICC have made the right call by having Geelong and Hobart host these first round of games. Do not call them qualifiers if you want to stay away from trouble. You'll be cancelled the moment you call them qualifiers. These teams have qualified and earned the right to be here. But because it's
no, they haven't. Sorry.
Well, okay. Sam said it, not me. And I think that plays into the whole thing, that why we aren't seeing that buzz. But let's face it, it's all about India-Pakistan, right? Like once that match happens, what happens before or after, a lot of people in the world don't care. I shouldn't be saying this, but that's how it's built up. So I think once that happens, and there's this talk of 90,000 people or 100,000 people paying a lot of money. I met someone the other day who I think has spent the equivalent of somewhere around 58,000 Australian dollars to get a ticket and get himself into the MCG. So, that's the kind of money we're talking about. So once that happens, I think the World Cup will well and truly kick off.
And I think for most people don't realize, but this is just an audition for who gets an IPL contract. I think that most people don't realize that's what this actual tournament is confected towards. So who is going to get the most money out of this?
In a way, yeah. I mean, look, the auctions not too far away. And generally what ICC events in Australia are held in January, February, right? At the end of the summer. This is the first time we're having an ICC event at this time of the year, which also goes back to why maybe we're not seeing the level of buzz we would have if, like we did the 2015 World Cup, for example. And yeah, I think any performance here, if you were Namibia, look, last year around the same time, Trumpelman was a name on every Indian's lips, just because he bowled well in a couple of games, bowled well against India. And that's all it takes, with someone watching these days. Anybody can become an IPL T20 star if you perform at the right time, when the right owners are watching, or you have caught the fancy of the right IPL owner's kid. That happens as well. Tatenda Taibu played for KKR because Shah Rukh Khan's son was a fan. So these things do work.
Amazing. That's good.
Just on India, how are you seeing them this tournament? Obviously, they can be damaging with the bat. They play well in Australia, generally speaking. Strong spinners. If anything, they might be weak in the seam department, particularly losing Bumrah. What do you think about their prospects for this tournament and just for the Pakistan game as well?
Look, I think unfortunately for India, this Bumrah injuries happened at the worst time. Look, I think their T20 cricket was sort of where England were with their 50-over cricket in 2015. They just reached that get busy living or get busy dying spot. But with Jasprit Bumrah now gone, I don't know whether they are going to be successful with the jailbreak. I don't know whether Andy Dufresne gets out in and isn't caught after that. And what I mean by that is they seem to have got their batting right, the tempo right. I think Surya Kumar Yadav has been a sensation. I've been fortunate to watch his career come through from his junior cricket days. I saw a lot of him in Mumbai, and we in Mumbai thought he'd be playing for India in 2015. It's taken a while, but now he's showing the world why he is quite special. There's something very special about him. And even the others, KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma, and all of them seem to have really picked up their pace. So they were just getting the batting right. But now without Bumrah, that death bowling slot is slightly dicey. And look, also, Sam, the thing is that if you see India in T20 cricket, in T20 World Cups, mostly they've played this abridged version of 50-over cricket. They picked their same players for both formats. They've had these whole periods where they've flirted with the whole idea of bringing T20 specialists, but without really committing to it. And even though a lot of people in India feel like that has happened, the commitment has happened now, they are a very T20 centric team, you can still feel that they haven't put a ring on it yet. They're still kind of not so sure. That's why you see a lot of those one-day players, the great one-day players, still being a part of this T20 side. So we'll have to see how the likes of Harshal Patel and Arshdeep Singh, very talented, not youngsters in Harshal Patel's case, but guys who've been around for a while, who've done well. So if the death bowling issue is sorted out by one of them, then I think India will be a force. Otherwise, they potentially could struggle to keep up against some of the teams for sure.
Well, on that theme, I feel like, okay, any team can win any game. That's one of the beauties of T20 cricket. But it feels like India, Australia, England, and Pakistan are most people's semi-finalists, I think. Can you see a South Africa? In your heart of hearts, can you see a New Zealand? I don't think the West Indies are doing shit, but yeah, is that top four your top four as well?
I actually have a good feeling about South Africa. Look, I've always had this thing before any ICC World Cup or Cricket Men's World Cup. The final I always predict is South Africa versus Sri Lanka, and I'll tell you why. I know someday it's going to happen. Because South Africa and Sri Lanka are nobody's second favorite team. Like, if you're not from Sri Lanka or South Africa, I don't think you really dream about either team winning anything. Maybe South Africa back in the 90s, they had a lot of fans around the world. So it would be just the most neutral of finals. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with Sri Lanka losing earlier today. But on a serious note with South Africa, we saw even in that Namibia game, I think this is going to be a World Cup where teams who defend will possibly have more chances of winning than they did last year, where it was all about win the toss, due in the UAE, chase down whatever you can. And that's what happened right through up to the final as well. So then when you're talking about teams defending targets or totals and winning, you're talking about the best bowling attacks around. And I think South Africa have done well in T20 cricket in the last 18 months or so. And they have a well-rounded bowling attack for these conditions. And that's one reason I have a feeling they might surprise a few teams and maybe even make it to that semi-final. And also, they're not in the tricky group with Australia, England, and New Zealand. I think that's why New Zealand will, I think, struggle to get out of that group. So if South Africa get one over either India or Pakistan, I have a feeling they might actually get through to that semis.
All right. You're a man who likes to frequent the nets, as far as I understand. And you must be a real curiosity to cricketers, like many of whom don't want to be there themselves. As far as I understand. But seriously, like nets seem to take on a stronger dimension in T20 cricket. Like you can be out of form and not be able to see the ball during a game. But if your teammates say you're still at the, you're very still at the crease in the nets, or you're hitting it better than anyone I've seen in my life, then you can actually be in form without runs in T20 cricket. So, like, as an expert net observer, like, what are you looking for when you visit a T20 net versus a test net, and how have the teams been netting?
That's a good question. I've seen the West Indies especially, and I saw Scotland yesterday in the nets. You see different things in T20 cricket, right? You can see it's all about game simulation. It's about, you'll see two batters going in, and the coaches and the bowlers and whoever's giving the throwdowns will have these margins set for them. You have to get 23 runs in 12 balls and all sorts of nonsense. And then there'll be a lot of back and forth between the bowling group and the batting group. I saw Scotland yesterday, funnily enough. I'd never seen that before. The bowlers suddenly stopped doing what they were doing. This guy, I think, might have been the analyst of the team. He had this laptop right in the middle of a net session. He called them over and he held the laptop like that, and they all stood around him like students. Like they had their arms folded as well. I don't know what he was.
Just a member of the public.
Could be, yeah.
Have a go at this.
Have a look at this.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, I was on the other side. I really wanted to sneak up behind them and see what was on that laptop. Maybe it had nothing to do with cricket, who knows?
Yeah.
But I think in Test cricket, you're seeing. Look, I've spent more than half my life watching Steve Smith bat in the nets, to the extent that I think we have like this weird relationship that we can't explain. I think it's only like Steve Smith and I understand the relationship we have, because it doesn't involve too many words. When he bats and I'm behind him, he'll turn around, and if he's played a good shot, he knows all he needs from me is a nod, and he'll nod back and he goes about his business. And also, I'm the guy who often, if I am there, who needs to tell him whether he's out or not. For example, in Sri Lanka recently, Nathan Lyon was bowling to him, and this ball just went very close to his outside edge. And there was an appeal, and he said, I didn't nick it. And then he turned around and said, what did you make of it? I'm happy if you're happy. Like, did I nick it? What did you think? I said, well, I don't think you nicked it. You nicked it. I said, and then he goes, well, I felt something, but if you're happy, I'm happy. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm happy. It is something something I don't share with anyone else. That much I can tell you. So in Test cricket or in even 50-over cricket, the nets, you're talking about technique, what someone's working on, and often enough, batters are working on ways to eliminate, ways of that they could be dismissed. Like, it's about eliminating risks. Here, it's all about taking risks. Like, it's about hitting the ball as often as you can from different situations, and it's also all about those simulations I spoke about. Putting yourself in these positions where you have to chase down certain runs, and that's what the West Indians were doing. The Scots, like I said, were just huddled around a laptop yesterday.
Just last one for me, Bharat. I just want to know, is Australia good? Because last year they were 6th in the world. They got smashed by West Indies, by Bangladesh. They won heaps of tosses to win the World Cup. Since then, don't know if they've won any games. Can't remember. I feel like they lose a lot of series. The favourites. Is Australia good?
Strangely, on paper, they look so much stronger than they did last year, right? Not just because they are winners. Josh Hazlewood has become arguably the best T20 fast bowler in the world, at least in Australia for sure. Tim David has come along and this serial 6-hitter, and they're the only team without any major injuries. They not only have 15 fit players, the best players now with Ashton Agar and all those guys having come back. They also have Cam Green, who I like to believe hasn't just knocked the door down. He's inside and lying down on the couch, just waiting to, it's a big couch as well. He's just waiting to get out there. So they just so spoiled for choices in that sense. That just makes them strong, which also then makes you wonder, because they went in, like you said, as like out. Nobody gave them a chance to even make it to the semifinals last year in the UAE. And like, who would have thought Matthew Wade would become this T20 sensation, right? Like, I don't think people speak enough about the turnaround in Matthew Wade's life in the last few years, and the finisher that he's become. So those things. But now there's this expectation all of a sudden that Australia will do it again. Home conditions, like I said, the arrival of Tim David, the strength in numbers as well. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. And that New Zealand game is going to be very, very. It'll be the decider. I think the way they deal with Trent Boult, because I think the new ball will swing, and especially with the La Nina and all that going around. It's think about it, right? Today we had a player called Divan Lecoq play in La Nina season. It doesn't sound very cricketing at all, but I think that's the beauty of having teams like Namibia around. So I think Australia are very, very strong. Will they go all the way? Based on what happened last year, you would say no, almost, because it seems too obvious that they'll go through, which kind of worries me.
Bharat Sundaresan, would love to catch up with you later on during the tournament. And also, that's a hell of a top you've got on. I'd like to praise it. And also, you have the best hair, but I don't mean to objectify you. Thank you for your brain as well. And we will catch you soon, brother.
I will catch you in some urinal near us. Don't worry.
Can't wait. See you, brother.
All right. Thank you very much to Bharat Sundaresan. As I tried to get in before, Pez, the Warner leadership situation. Let me read some stuff to you. So Warner could get his ban overturned. That's his captaincy ban, or at least have the chance to appeal, with Cricket Australia proposing a change to its code of conduct. Under the current rules, players don't have a right to have a sanction reviewed once it has been accepted. So CA officials on Friday, they went some way to opening the door for change. Let me read Bredig. This is Dan Bredig.
Chief cricket right at the age.
Thank you. He said, tellingly, the board decided that if the review of the code results in a fresh clause allowing for a penalty to be appealed, the outcome would be subject to a hearing before an independent code of conduct commissioner in front of whom Warner would plead his case. Let me read you the CA statement. The amendment would allow a person to request a penalty that they had accepted be reviewed after an appropriate period of time. Currently, the code states that once a charge and penalty is accepted, there is no avenue for review. The onus would be on the applicant to prove they had undergone genuine reform relevant to the offence they were sanctioned for.
Now, is there more?
Yeah, so he's just got to show that he hasn't been telling people to sandpaper the ball. Seems very specific.
The board meeting they had on Friday was a very important one. So at this board meeting, they were going to decide whether or not they were going to have a look at the code of conduct. Because leading into this, it was like, well, sorry, David, there's no what's the word? There's no lever or machinery within our constitution to have a look at this again because of the way the code of conduct's written, you forewent your chance for an appeal. But now
hands are tied.
It's a governance thing.
Yeah.
But they had this board meeting, and they went, no, we're going to commission a review into the code of conduct. Just all of a sudden, we're just going to have a look at that again.
Yeah.
And then the next step is if they review it and go, yeah, that should be changed, and there should be a specific clause in there allowing someone to actually appeal their decision. Oh, David, you want to have an appeal? No worries. Now, Warner's already said, I'll talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Now, I just have a feeling, he goes, I don't know, because it's the soft signal's been given by C. I just got a feeling Warner's going to turn up, plead his case. Maybe he'll talk for 2 or 3 minutes about what actually happened with sandpaper, and ta-da, they went, no, it's all good. Yep, no, you're fine. You're fine. It's interesting. It's interesting that this is being. Look, I think this is hopefully going to lead to a good outcome. A lot of people know that we've been, probably especially me, been banging on about this for a little while because I think it's unjust manifestly. But I think that it is funny that the mechanism for making this happen is through just bureaucracy and red tape. As you were reading that to me about basically Cricket Australia potentially about to embark on an enormous climb down from the biggest moral panic that the code went through ever.
Embarrassing. It was embarrassing. In my opinion.
People will fall asleep because it's being couched in the most bureaucratic terms possible, where people are talking about code of conduct, commissioners, fucking governance, constitution, reviews. And you're like, what? Okay, and it's so funny because there's been a lot of navel gazing.
What's happening
and
in the Shield?
Pearl clutching about well, is there appetite within the public for Warner to be given this opportunity again?
Right.
And now that the carpet is being rolled to make this happen, I don't see I don't know about you. There's no reportage of it in the paper beyond Bredig. Talkback lines aren't losing their shit. I don't see anything online. People are going to be like, okay.
Yeah.
Partridge.
Yeah.
Oh, Warner's Banzo, he's captaining the Thunder, is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Play on.
Yeah. That's just what will happen.
Yeah.
It's like when Steve Smith was captain for the first time again. I would think it might have been when. Was Payne even playing? He was off the field or something? Or no, he would miss the game or something?
Smith captained when Cummins got COVID.
That's right. Yeah,
or he was next to a great player who gave him COVID.
Yeah, the Adelaide. That was the Adelaide
Smith
test.
just captained again. And everyone was like...
Was that the India 36 game?
No, that was England.
That was England, was it? Oh, yeah, that's right. Ollie Robertson done the... Yeah. See, stuff happens in Adelaide. Stuff happens.
It's a good little ground. It's got itself a semi.
I thought it was semi thinking about that song. Yeah, man. I saw a quote the other day about saying we also have to respect the decisions made at the time. What?
No, we don't.
No, you made a mistake. It was a foolish mistake.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
But it's okay to make a mistake, as Warner has, and to be better afterwards. And I think the same for CA. There'll be all sorts of spin and face saving going on. That's all good. But I think that it looks like they're leading towards a just outcome, and everyone can move on. And then Warner will put his book out. They might be keen to know what's in the book.
Well, one series that is going to
It's
going to capture the minds and hearts is the Jeffrey Dahmer Netflix thing.
Yeah, the cannibal.
The Amazon, what's it called? The test on Amazon, Series 2. But this one's about the players as opposed to the coach last time.
Just so I don't like everyone would have seen there was a staged communications plan initiative where
Everyone would have seen that.
everyone would have seen it. So the plan it leaked, absolutely unbelievable. Amazon, absolute sieve. The preview came out through the week of season 2 of the test.
I haven't seen the preview.
Really?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, fuck! You got to see it. So it's all about how Camo's taken over now.
Oh, okay.
Payne and JL have moved along.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really funny to see what the players actually say on camera about that, like, especially because it's filmed in real time.
Yeah.
Like, about what has happened, like whether they speak in just nothing but respectful terms or whatever.
Sort of platitudes.
And I wouldn't begrudge them if they just like opted to be respectful, I guess. But it'll be a test of the Amazon guys to see whether they like truly went behind the scenes on the actual feelings that existed and always existed from the start. In fact, before.
Why do I feel like we went more behind the scenes than that did?
Oh, we'll see. Maybe not. I don't know. JL declined to be interviewed for it.
All right.
So that's a mistake for Amazon as well. Who should have forwarded $2 million to him for that because that would have been awesome.
Yeah. That's television.
That's television. That's what television is. Well, I was going to say though, but to be fair to Amazon, there's this great moment when in the preview where Travis Head flings his bat in the sheds after apparently being dismissed.
Oh,
either that or he's cosplaying himself and there's no game at all. But
Mate, these guys practice so much. I wouldn't be surprised.
He flings his bat 20 meters across the sheds. Now, Cricket Australia in the article say that this was in the Gall changing room. I disagree. What people don't realise is that was after his 152 in Brisbane. It's just really high standards.
Yeah, that's good.
There's another moment. This is good where Nathan Lyon just captures Nathan Lyon saying, "This is officially the worst game I've ever been a part of." And that's just doing things for me.
That is
and
big.
I'm salivating at the sheer genius of the marketing comms people of Amazon. Like they recognize this is the shit people want to see. Like I want to see the best players in the world absolutely hating cricket, hating themselves, hating each other. These are the stories we identify with. And someone at Amazon or a group of people have seen that piece and gone like, that'll sell.
Yep.
You know?
That's relatable content.
Yeah, exactly. This game's fucking shit.
Is that Nathan Lyon or is that me?
And then at the end, it's Mitch Marsh saying this. He's saying, this is Pat's team. This is our team. So I'm ready to go for it.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna.
You gonna run through a brick wall for it?
Yeah, sure. Whatever you need.
Or just turn it on. Just subscribe to it and you just turn on.
Just
an ad now.
Yeah. That's right. They don't have to get in touch with us anymore.
Ah, damn it.
Oh well.
Oh, we fucked up.
We fucked up again.
Well, that's good. That's good. I guess I watched that. I read something on the internet as I was perusing just the internet. That the Border Gavaskar series that Australia lost is not in it because of COVID. Like they just they weren't allowed cameras into the dressing rooms and shit. The protocols were so tight. I read that.
Okay.
But that might not be true because it was on the internet. So
right,
one of those things is true. Either it's in or it's not.
The footage that I saw seemed to be from the Ashes and Gall and Pakistan, so that would be consistent.
So they could have been down at like Chadstone, to the shopping centre where the blokes just went out for a meal one time. Went out for a feed.
They're big players. I'm hungry.
Yeah, I just want to eat.
There's a good joint in Chadstone.
Yeah.
The shop's there.
Hey, the WBBL has commenced.
Safe stuff here.
Elise Perry took 2 for 27, hit 55 knots off 48 to win player of the match in the opening game. That's against Brisbane Heat. Also in that game, Pez, Sam Perry took a catch. Elise Perry took a catch at cover.
Yeah, full toss.
Yeah, off Michaela, off Maitland Brown. Michaela Hinkley was a batter.
Yes.
And then because they were behind on the overs, she like threw it back to the bowler, who then like walked back to a mark, and then everyone was like, "Was that out?" It was like, yeah, but can we just get on with the game?
Because she rolled as she took it.
Yeah.
As well.
But it was just a full toss and went straight to her, and then she just...
Her reaction to taking the catch was as though she had just stopped a regulation ball at cover.
Yeah.
And
then underarmed it back to the bowler, Maitland Brown.
And then a couple of people came to celebrate with her, and she just celebrated.
Yeah.
But Perry just said, Pezza just said, we're just trying to get through the overs.
Yeah.
But there was a whole bunch of confusion because the umpire was like, well, you haven't appealed
Yeah,
or whatever. And then
that's
the
right.
umpire seemed to be apologising.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
whole thing ended up taking more time than the Sixers needed.
That's
and
right.
they got penalised for a slow overrate.
Cricket.
I thought Fox Sports got it right
Yeah.
with their headline. Bizarre scenes show, inverted commas, cricket is the dumbest sport before epic finish in the WBBL opener. I think it was a tweet from someone, but I think that is very accurate, especially for Fox.
Yeah. Have been known to sensationalise some stuff. But,
Ratings are up. Ratings are up. Here goes. 38% increase in ratings. It's per Malcon and the SMH. 283,000 views across 7 and Fox. KO puts it above 300K. As you said, Pez, 250s. Decent enough clip and a two-far. She got 30 odd today. Sixes are 3 from 3, so that's safe.
Yep.
They're unbeaten, but
Mate,
bit of hype about Pez. Body's maybe good to go. Bit better to go than it has been in the past.
Well,
If
mate,
only we had the chance to interview her.
missed opportunity. Mate, the Sixers top 7 is Healy, Susie Bates, the Kiwi legend.
Yeah.
Perry 3, Ash Gardner 4, Erin Burns 5, Sophie Eccleston 6. That's top 6. Eccleston, one of the best bowlers in the world as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Nicole Bolton, I think he's 7 as well. Aussie.
Well, that team will just
Maitland
win.
Brown.
If they don't win, effigies.
Yeah, and Sydney should be winning some stuff.
Agreed.
New South Wales cricket needs a couple of Ws.
Darcy Brown bowled the fastest ball in WBBL history today, Pez.
Wheels,
127.2.
good, safe.
That's 79 MPH for the old money.
Well, so with India coming, I like to see new faces. I know Darcy Brown's been in and around the joint for a while, but there's a couple of young.
She might be teen still, or maybe 20.
Good.
One of those.
Good.
Okay, Pez, before we get into hashtag AskTGC this week, of which there are a couple of belters, and I want to do both of them if that's okay with you. We need to thank our dear friends at Manscaped. Manscaped.com. Use the code TGC for 20% off and free shipping.
Here goes. I'm going to give you a choice today because guess what?
Yep.
Some new copy came in.
Oh, hell
and,
yeah.
And there's more choice than ever. And this is genuine. I have the email in front of me, but I have not clicked the link to any of them, and I'm going to give you the choice. All right. So, it says November focus, but well, let's get into it. Okay, there's 2 categories. One is holidays came early. The other one is thankful. Now, within holidays came early, your choices are male, stroke, female, stroke, female sexual.
See you later, mate.
The second one is thankful, male or female.
Well, you already know which one I'm going. So
All right, holidays came early, female sexual. Let's go. All right, Santa baby, I only have one wish this year. All I want this holiday season is for my man to have smooth jingle balls. Thankfully, Manscaped answered my call with the Performance Package 4.0, so I don't have to find Santa's beard in my man's pants again.
What's that? Santa's beard. No further questions.
Ladies, this holiday season, get your man products that will actually get him smooth and clean. Their all-new Body Buffer does just that. Body Buffer.
Damn, Daniel.
Body Buffer sounds like a sort of thing like a teacher would do at a school dance.
Oh, no, he's doing the body buffer.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, they body buffered me. It's time to give the man in your life the gift of beautiful skin and balls this holiday season. Go to manscaped.com and use the code TGC for 20% off plus free shipping.
What a gift.
Girls, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of finding a bush when I go down on my man's chimney. Oh, down the old chimney there. Hop down the old chimney.
Oh, no.
I suppose this is meant to be sort of like a female selling Manscaped to other females.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hairy jingle balls are a thing of the past with Manscaped TM Performance Package 4.0. And now host is to talk about a time when they were with a guy who had hairy balls or a gross, weird balls story. Why do you think this is the best gift? You got anything on that?
I just remember in the UK where we went through a stage where we were doing pube art. You know, some people go and throw some soup on a Van Gogh.
Yeah.
Other people make art out of their pubic hair and then show it to other men in the cricket dressing rooms.
I see.
So different strokes, different folks.
I escaped through the week. It was another pleasant experience.
Yeah,
I don't
pleasant.
have much else to say other than it was a pleasant experience to do the job that it needed to do. I'm happy for it. And no, I already went through this in my brain. No, I'm not going to say that on air.
Well, it was actually a deleted scene from the movie Pleasantville.
Yeah.
Actually, well, Tobey Maguire's actually just shaving his balls. They cut it out at the end. Unlike the cuts that you won't receive.
Unlike the cuts you won't receive.
Fuck yeah, double negative.
Yeah. When you're like lucky enough to be a father with a couple of small children and like
So your dick works.
Dad was right. As long as it works.
Yeah.
But they like we have a pretty open bathroom at home.
Okay, yeah.
That's not. Do you think that's weird? Like,
No,
people will be listening. Like some people
No.
just have everyone's allowed in and out. Really.
No, what I was thinking was, I don't know why, but when you said that, in my mind, like in your bathroom doors, of which I know because I've been to a house many times as a welcome guest, very hospitable environment. Thank you.
Keep going.
But open your eyes. He goes, no, well, I refuse to. But in my mind, when you said open bathroom, it's like the
Open
it's
bar.
it's
But you can use it anytime you want. Episode open bathroom here, guys.
Mate,
Don't have to pay.
5 grades win, open bar.
I get my children to be the toilet attendant with one glove. Mint.
Cologne daddy.
Mint, Mr. Higgins. Oh my God, Barney, go to bed.
No, like the old corner shop with like the confetti as like the fucking doorway. Do you know what I mean? And not confetti, like
like a streamer kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or sometimes
like
it'd be
paper.
plastic.
Yeah,
You'd
paper
run
or
through it
plastic,
like
yeah.
you were playing sport.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Like in 1988 Balmain Grand Final.
That's right. You'd have shoulder pads, Madison headgear.
I'm Paul Sirenen.
No, I want to be Ciro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Benny Elias, what a player
He was a great player. My mum used to take me to Leichhardt Oval. We have an open bathroom, and so my people in and out. And I'm like I was escaping, and one child did walk past. And like double took.
Yeah. Did he crow his neck? Crane his neck?
No,
crow his neck.
Because the eldest is 4.5, so it would be strange, like imagining a 4-year-old like craning their neck back, like you know, that's a bit too old,
abstract.
Yeah, like side mouthing. So no, but I did like, and then you start getting silly. Like, it's just for the optical inch, son.
Yeah,
all good,
of course,
and that's for the wife, and she doesn't laugh, and a lot of the good material just gets wasted in the house.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
So I just say it on a podcast. It's still not good. Anyway, use the code TGC at manscaped.com. They're probably listening to this one because we just invoiced them. It's been a little while, so they probably just want to check what's going on. Could be the last one. Naughty or nice, Manscaped is the #1 gift on Santa's list. Podcaster, what to say / not to say briefing. Oh, shit. I hadn't seen that bit. All right, let's do the show now.
All right, #AskTGC. If you want #AskTGC Fridays, that is exclusive to Patreon, video and audio. It's patreon.com/Great Cricketer. Hey, the summer is returning and it's a big summer ahead. Of course, the World Cup. What rarely do all corners of the globe come together and unite and fight sometimes, depending if Pakistan and Afghanistan are playing each other. I'm not sure.
Oh, shit.
Let's see how many contracts we can lose in one show.
That's right. Oh, my God.
But yeah, you can support TGC if you feel like doing that, or if you don't worry about it.
You get more. It's not like a tip jar either.
Oh, you get fucking heaps more.
Yeah.
We just want to give people value.
It's a transaction. You pay money, you get more content.
And you get this kind of stuff, Pez. This actually comes in from Canberra, but it's a non.
Okay.
Anonymity, please. Pez and he goes, not to be confused with a plumber who repairs and he goes. Blame yourselves for that. Cheers. While arguably always prevalent, I believe, such as your reach and influence on our culture, the prominence of cock stuff is increasing, permeating through society. With that said, I'm writing to warn you and your listeners of an individual in the nation's capital who I witnessed stealing cock tricks in the Manuka Oval men's bathrooms.
Wow.
Manuka Oval is where the last 2 games were played in Australia and England's series just recently for those playing overseas.
Okay.
Like all good stories, and non continues, it started with an at-capacity bladder. Like all good stories, it started with an at-capacity bladder.
It needn't be said.
My curiosity and naivete got the better of me, and I found myself standing behind a bloke proudly holding 4 packets of the little squeezy tomato sauces, wondering what all the fuss was about. The individual in question was standing at the 3rd urinal from the right. Number 5, if you like to count your urinals from the left. I managed to pop my head through and saw it was a bloke doing cock tricks. He was cycling through the classics, PK, sauce on blimp, etc. Even throwing him some questionable ones. At one stage, I witnessed it wrapped around his wrist while he uttered some indiscernible nonsense.
Interesting.
I approached him after the crowd dispersed, eager to know his motives.
His manager. Do you have representation?
He told me they're all his tricks and it's okay. He plays a bit of two stuff in Canberra. So, questions. What are your thoughts on others' cock tricks?
Just taking others' cock tricks, yeah.
And claiming them as your thing. What percentage of your uncircumcised listeners do you think have had PK in their foreskin? Do you think you'd be able to help me identify this bloke? I just can't fathom who would nick cock tricks, even if they play a bit of two stuff in Canberra. P.S. Cheers and on. Sorry, cheers and on. P.S. Sorry to all involved.
Yeah. This is the style. This is it definitely. I feel like on ASKTGC Fridays, maybe 3 or so months ago, the conversation just as is its wont, like veered into like discussion of penis and penis related content.
That's right.
And it's actually just stayed there.
Yeah.
Like normally kind of there's a rhythm to it. Like the questions move on to something else and it's gone to something else.
Someone will bring something else.
Yeah, that's right.
Like a drug incident or something.
I'm not sure if that's incentivizing non-patrons to join or not, but it's a rich well.
The discourse is rich.
Yeah, that's right. You can mine it for days, months. But like we're up to like doctors writing in about bladders and what you're able to do with it.
Velocity of stream.
Yes, stream velocity. Yeah, that's right.
Please do join us for the live streams we're doing later, by the way.
What did you say? Stream of the week. One of the doctors
Pisser of the week.
Pisser of the week.
Fastest pisser in the West.
Anyway, so we're still obviously in cock stuff. And yeah, look, I have to say, if someone is like to this person who's going cycling through the classics, PK, Sauce on Blimp, etc. So kind of like a tribute band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, want to go watch Led Zeppelin tribute band? You know, they play all the hits, etc. If this person's still playing, playing two stuff in Canberra, like I'd be surprised if they are if they are older than the person who claims to be the originator of both PK and Sauce on Blimp.
TM.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I'm not revealing anything with that. But so I think the first thing to establish is my sense is that these penis tricks have been, I guess it's plagiarized.
Yeah, they've been lifted.
I'd say plagiarized. It's an intellectual.
It's an IP issue.
Intellectual. Yeah, another one.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. So but I don't know. Like I don't think we need to go down the route of like, well, this guy doesn't own that cock trick. Not to be confused with Nick Chotrich, who plays for the Raiders. In Canberra.
Or Nick Hockley.
Oh, that's right.
Or his cousin Nick Cockley.
Or Bert Cockley, who played for
Wheels.
For Randwick Petersham.
Fucking Wheels. And New South Wales.
Yeah.
Wheels.
Yeah. Knocked over Elias Perry
Now,
himself.
who was the first person who put his penis around his wrist and saying, what time is it? Was it sundial days?
Yeah.
Was it Cain or Abel?
Aristotle.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
It was Aristotle. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That goes back a long way.
That does, yeah. You had to bounce it off the sun.
Mate, I mean, it could have honestly been the case that, what's like the wristwatch, like where's my pinnacle? What's the time?
Yeah,
that could have been like Cro-Magna, form of human. That could have been pre. What are we again? What are we called? The
coats.
Yeah, that's right. I've got.
Are you talking about Homo sapien?
That's it. Yeah,
right.
That's right.
Right.
It was on the tip of my tongue.
Right.
Yeah, the thing that Cro-Magna, I think that's when wristwatch started.
Yeah,
that was the first one. The first man.
Yeah. I think Caesar had turkey balls.
You know you know that scene in The Simpsons where Sideshow Bob is doing all those like awesome balloon tricks.
Yeah,
that's ruined for me. Like,
shit.
so I don't know about look. This guy isn't the owner of those tricks.
No, he's not the owner.
He's not the owner.
He's not the owner.
I still dips me lid. You know, like if he's in. I hope that he's doing the cock tricks.
Doffing your cap.
Yeah, I hope he's doing it in a like in a consensual environment. He's not just in a public toilet. Yeah. Just going, I got this one. I got this. This is sauce on blimp. This is PK. Yeah. Don't use the aniseed ones. That actually really stings.
Yep.
As for the percentage of uncircumcised listeners who I think have had PK in the foreskin, I can't comment. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't really want to be starting a trend with that either, if I'm honest.
No.
If I'm honest.
Yeah, don't try this at home kind of stuff.
That kind of gear, yeah.
All right, next one. We're getting to the next one here.
Yeah,
okay.
Why don't we just read this out and we'll just... it needs discussion. That's a problem.
No, we can do it.
Okay.
Can you fill for 30 seconds while I text them?
Anon, boys! I come to you both to seek your advice, imagining you as two priests crammed into a confessional box, breathing heavily and listening to my confessions of cricketing penitence. I have been retired from playing cricket for 7 years now, but this act on the cricket field still haunts me to this day. On this fateful day, we were playing away to second bottom and we were top. We just made the grand final the year before and, to be honest, very dismissive of the coats we were playing. They had just come up a division and had a couple of very young and impressive juniors in the team. I will admit I was an alpha coat and had won the club MVP for 5 years straight and was coming off a league MVP the year prior. Like a fuckwit, it was as if I was annoyed at having to play against this team, a pathetic way of thinking upon reflection. We batted first. While I was waiting to bat, I saw an older gentleman sitting on the sidelines near our team with a map of the field, a ruler, and different coloured pencils mapping out where each ball was being hit, as if he was accumulating data for the younger kids on the team to improve their game. I looked over to one of our younger players and asked if they knew what that was about. They told me one of the boys' fathers maps out where they get hit for runs when they are bowling. I couldn't believe that a father would actually even come to watch their son play, let alone be interested enough to care about the improvement of their game and want to actually engage with them and show them love. Being the opening bowler coat I was, I reminded myself to save this information for when it was our turn to bowl, and these kids were batting. We were bowled out for a mediocre 177, and went out to bowl. We started well and had them 4 for 26. The two young kids came in at 5 and 6. They were both now at the crease, and I thought it was time for a baptism of fire of sorts. I bowled an over at these young men, coming in, bowling bouncers, glaring at them, spitting in their direction, swearing at them at the side of my mouth as they were tentatively tried to fend off balls from their armpits, fucking understandably, with some dickhead lunatic acting this way. The eventful over ended and I was moved into silly mid-off. I saw this as the perfect opportunity to sledge. After a play and miss, I looked the helpless kid in the eye and said, Your dad isn't out here to help you now.
I hope you said it like that.
Your dad isn't out here to help you now. The stammer. Yeah.
Yes. I went to the speech pathologist.
To my surprise, I saw the kid walking aggressively towards me with his bat over his head as if he was going to kill me. I also saw the captain of our side running from slip yelling, "He doesn't know! He doesn't know!" Racing toward him, hugging him to stop him from smacking me with the bat. This then turned to the kid starting to howl with tears falling down his face, with Square Leg and our captain patting him on the back and consoling this child.
Oh, no.
I had no idea what I had done, so I walked over to the trio to apologise. I'd seriously said far, far worse things to Coates and didn't understand how this little comment could cause such a stir. That is when Square Leg said to me, "His dad died 5 months ago." Fair to say, the next 5 overs I bowled were absolute dross, slow, full and outside off stump. I did not say a word for the rest of the day and rad from fine leg to fine leg. It affected my team's game so much they got to 130 before the next wicket and looked certain to cause an upset. I didn't care. I wanted to get in my car and get home, preferably without being stabbed by the seconds, thirds and fourths that had now come back and had obviously heard about the mishap that took place. Unfortunately, we brought on a part-time spinner and he took 4 for 7 off 2 overs and we bowled them out 2 runs short of our target. As you can understand, I was ecstatic. As we walked off shaking hands with everyone happy but me, the kid was at the end of the line with some short, skinny, cracky-looking coat standing next to him, swearing and abusing me. I took it. I'm a piece of shit and fucking deserved it. I walked in the rooms fearing for my life, grabbed my bag and in my whites jumped in my car and left. My question to you guys is, and this has been playing on my mind since that day, should I have tubbed after the game or did I make the right choice in not doing so? Seriously though, boys, great show, love it. Keep up the good work. This is a true story to every detail and has killed me for the past 7 years. And now I have a son of my own. I'm trying extremely hard to keep him away from cricket so he never has to deal with this fucking shit game himself. If this now full-grown man is listening to this, I'm sorry. This incident was the biggest reason I stopped playing cricket in my prime at the age of 27. Cheers.
Okay.
Shit. That is fucking rich in tapestry.
Yeah. I still was, really keen to find out about the gentleman sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah, but what about the nonce on the sidelines?
I wanted to know about the coloured pens and highlighters guy. I wanted to know who was the different coloured pencils guy. Yeah. What happened to him?
What happened to him?
What was he doing? I thought we might find out.
Was he on parole?
It was a very well put together story, obviously.
Yeah. Did he have a protractor?
Obviously it's it's the classic, you sledge someone's mum. Oh, my mum died.
Yeah.
Time to time they have.
Yeah.
Time to time they have.
Yeah.
Most of the time they haven't, and you see it's a retort that just kind of stops them in their tracks. But obviously, on this occasion, it had.
Yeah.
Kind of fair play to the young boy for walking towards him, bat raised above the head. Can't be easy. Obviously, Dad's died, so doing stuff in honour.
See, Dennis Lilly,
Jarvid Mean Dad, so you're looking for?
Jarvid Mean Dad, thanks.
Yeah.
That whole situation.
Hopefully wearing an I Heart New York hat.
With a graphite bat. Was it graphite? It was aluminium.
Yeah.
Dennis Lilly had an aluminium bat for a while, didn't he?
Yeah.
I flipped a fair bit around there, but,
Yeah, that's all right.
Something for the ears there. Just fill the silence. That's something for the ears there. You're welcome.
A little piece of value for the ears. Yeah.
Well, it's at the top of the story, man. I was like, fuck. Anon he's really bigging himself up as like the sort of the attack dog on the field. And he was quite proud of that, right? And I was a bit like when I was reading, he was like, this guy's a bit of a fuckwit, isn't he? But then he acknowledges he was a fuckwit, but he was still kind of presenting it as if he was proud about it. But then at the end, he drew me right back in. And he was like, I think about this all the time. It's 7 years ago. It's the reason I stopped playing. He's gripped with remorse.
Absolute roller coaster too, because for a short period he was ecstatic that they won the game.
Yeah, I won the game.
What's he saying?
6 points. 6 points in a song.
That's right. You get the song.
Job done.
Let's go, Hoff.
Thank you very much to Reece Topley. Thank you very much to Bharat Sundaresan. The World Cup is here. We've got World Cup fever. Have you got the fever? Join us on Patreon. We'll see you guys on the internet real soon. Cheers.